What is good, everyone? My name is OJ and welcome to the Village of PlayerEssence, to where you're going to get some awesome Nintendo Switch goodness delivered straight to all you PE ninjas' homes. So Shigeru Miyamoto, the big man himself over at Nintendo, has stated that Nintendo's internal studios have mastered the Unreal Engine. This article was on VentureBeat and I definitely wanted to share this with you guys because it has a lot of interesting information in addition to some information that we kind of already knew about. So let's go ahead and get right into it here. So Epic Games has already confirmed that the upcoming Nintendo Switch console supports the powerful Unreal Engine graphics toolkit, but now Nintendo claims it has experimented and mastered the engine itself. Nintendo creative director Shigeru Miyamoto told a gathering of the publisher's investors that the company built the Switch hybrid home handheld console due out on March 3rd for $300 with ease of development in mind. He explained that the studio could take a PC game and quickly port it to the Nintendo Switch thanks to NVIDIA graphics technology inside the system and its full support of Unreal Engine and Unity graphics engines. But Miyamoto also said that Nintendo's own teams are benefiting from this, and that the company's internal studios have even deeply investigated Unreal themselves to the point that they fully understand how to get the most out of it. The ease of software development has also been felt by Nintendo's internal developers, Miyamoto told investors during a question and answer session in Kyoto. Also, even though game software developers in the US and EU are often said to have superior skills to their Japanese counterparts when it comes to software development techniques, Nintendo's software developers have mastered state-of-the-art technologies such as Unreal Engine, and their skills can now be compared to those of Western developers. Our developers are more excited than ever to create software. Shigeru Miyamoto stopped short of claiming that Nintendo would use Unreal Engine to make games, but the company is obviously de-emphasizing the importance of its own tools as the sole solution for building games on the Nintendo Switch. For our previous game platforms, creating our own development tools was a high priority for us, Managing Executive Officer Shinya Takahashi told investors. However, since the start of Nintendo Switch development, we have been aiming to realize an environment in which a variety of different third-party developers are able to easily develop compatible software, such as making it compatible with Unreal and Unity, as well as our own development tools. As a result, even companies with only a few developers are already started to make games for Nintendo Switch. VentureBeat went on to say this likely means that Nintendo won't make the next Metroid game on Unreal, but instead it has the technical know-how to aid third-party studios that need help getting certain tricks to work in the graphics engine. If that's the case, Nintendo could possibly have a better chance of bringing more third-party support to the Switch than the company had on the Wii U. So let's go ahead and let's talk about this just a bit, because there are a number of interesting things here. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch is going to get more third-party support than the Wii U. I think that is pretty much a given at this point, based on what third-party developers have said, based on what Shigeru Miyamoto has said when it comes to porting from the PC to the Nintendo Switch. They made none of these statements when it came to the Wii U. When stuff come out like Unreal Engine 4 wasn't going to be supported, Unity had issues and all that, Nintendo mainly stayed silent for the most part and just talked about how great their first-party studios were and how third-party developers are still making some content, but they never talked about ease of development, they never talked about porting process, they never talked about any of that. There was some talk from certain developers that were comfortable with the system, but it wasn't necessarily easy for everyone or ideal for everyone in this. Now, we've seen Bethesda, a company who never makes anything for Nintendo, come out and pledge some support for Nintendo, at least starting out with the Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And obviously we've seen other developers come out and announce games. There's been developers who have said, yeah, we're definitely looking into Nintendo Switch, who didn't touch the Wii or the Wii U, or who really didn't have much of a hand on the Wii and really didn't do anything on the Wii U. So this is definitely good to hear, but I love the fact that they talked about how, and this is the new information here, how that Nintendo has mastered pretty much the Unreal Engine and their toolkit, and they could help out developers if that was the case. But I also think when it comes to developing their own software, I think they could also use some tips and techniques that they've learned from the other engines. Another thing that they added in there is that the tools are easy for everyone to use, and that's the biggest thing in this whole book. Like, how easy is it going to be to develop for the Nintendo Switch when this system takes off? Because it will do better than the Wii U. There are going to be developers and publishers that are interested in putting games on there in the first year. We're definitely going to see that. We see the pre-order numbers coming in. I don't think that's disputed at this point. It's going to be the long-term success to where if the Nintendo Switch gets ports past year 1, past year 2. I do think with the software lineup that Nintendo does have for this year, it's pretty much set that they're going to have a lot of games. Nintendo is making sure that they're building the highest possible install base that they can. That's why you're seeing all these heavy hitters in one year, from The Legend of Zelda, Splatoon, Mario Kart, Xeno, Mario Odyssey. You're seeing all these big games in one year because Nintendo wants to have this fat install base in order to shop to third-party developers for 2018, 2019, saying, hey, look at how much momentum we're having. Look at all the people that are buying this system. Now it's time for you to create games, although I think developers are already doing so. But yeah, it's going to be something to where we're going to see at E3 as well. In addition to the months leading up, we still have a little bit of time before the system launches. There could be more announcements. There are new announcements at every single point, and Nintendo could be waiting for another Nintendo Direct to make more surprise announcements, in addition to announcements throughout, like let's say in April and in May, and throughout the months in the year. A lot of people are expecting Nintendo to announce everything at one point. That's just not realistic. That's not going to happen. Nintendo has their Directs. Nintendo has big events that they do, so you're going to get announcements for third-party games, Japanese and Western third-party games throughout the year. And Nintendo's developers are very talented. It does seem though like the Western development studios have definitely had a leg up when it comes to graphics and when it comes to development, although Final Fantasy 15 shows that a technically demanding game can be done, just as demanding as any of the other Western games that are out there, and there are more games coming out from Japanese developers that are looking pretty good. So I think there's a good balance between Japanese developers finally getting their hands on these current gen systems and Western developers continuing to push out technologically advanced games. Having both of them around doing well is beneficial to all of us as consumers and as gamers. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Nintendo's developers have mastered the Unreal Engine, and they are really excited to get going creating software, and obviously you can tell by that, by 2017 software lineup is looking pretty freaking stacked, and I feel that we're not going to have the issues that we had with the Nintendo Wii U, and to some extent with the Nintendo 3DS lack of software, because all the developers are going to be hands on deck and they're going to be able to create software easily. Another thing that I want to say in this video is that I think the ease of development is apparent by like Super Mario Odyssey pretty much already being done, and the fact that Xenoblade 2 is going to be a 2017 title. As you know, Xenoblade Chronicles X, that took forever to come out. They were having technical issues. They had to do the download packs and all of that. But Xeno 2, they're like, okay, here we go, 2017. And it's like, whoa, already? And like, yeah, that just goes to show you how the ease of development has changed from the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and hit that like button if you did like it. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for more news, reviews, trailers, tips, and tricks, and everything in gaming. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace.